This is a Ford Duraspark II distributor. I bought this as a refurbished unit a couple of years ago to replace the MSD Pro Billet distributor I had in here. I bought the MSD distributor because it's nice to be able to just pull over on the side of the road and recurve the distributor. But that distributor has been very, very obnoxious to me. First, it cost me a fortune to actually get the thing working properly because it's got sockets on top for the spark plug wires, which they're a disaster. So I had to adapt to posts, which meant buying all these parts from MSD. These days you can get a cap with posts on it, but back then you couldn't. So I had to buy all these dumb post adapters that barely work. And to add insult to injury, I was going through cap and rotor, and I was getting them to last at most 6 months. I had a couple of them that I had to replace in like 2 weeks. The points inside were fouling. This Duraspark distributor does not have this problem. I've never had this problem with any distributor except for that MSD, and I've talked to several other people that are having the same problem. I don't exactly know what causes it or how to deal with it, so rather than have my ignition just randomly quit working, I put this Duraspark II in, which it's not a bad distributor. It's just you got to do a little bit of disassembly to be able to make adjustments, and that's what I'm doing here today. What I found, though, I've never taken this one apart, it's kind of interesting. It's got the springs in it that I expected to see, and it's got a heavy and a light. But what's odd is these arms are different. Typically you have the same size arm on both sides, and you can see here I've got a 13R and an 18R. The 13R is the only one that's got a stop, so that's what's giving me 26 degrees of advance theoretically. But I don't know how well you can see it on the camera. There's a sleeve that somebody put around the stop, so I'm most likely not even getting 13 degrees of advance with that sleeve on there. It's something less, or 26 degrees I should say. I'll deal with that issue later. First thing I want to do is lighten up these springs. Of course, I do have the extra springs that come with the MSD distributor yet, and I'll put one of those springs in here. They're the same springs. And then eventually I'll probably pull that sleeve off of that post and see how that works. And if not, if that's not enough advance, I can always swap these arms. I can put the 18R on the side with the stop and get 36 degrees probably. But take this one step at a time. I don't have a distributor testing machine, and I really don't care to stand here and plot everything out. I just want to liven this thing up a little bit. That's the biggest disappointment putting this distributor on here is how lazy this distributor is, and that's just the way they make these things for fuel efficiency. And of course it's not really the right, well, it is the right distributor for this motor, but who knows with this refurbished one if this was intended for this motor or some Ford motor. I have no idea. One thing I really don't appreciate about this distributor design is that silly roll pin that holds that reluctor on there. I've got it sitting on there with a little bit of grease right now. Hopefully I can press the thing down in there without losing it. Something that bothers me about this refurbished distributor is I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a snap ring or something on there that holds that reluctor wheel down, and that was absent from this thing when I took it apart. It doesn't seem like it really goes anywhere, but of course the engine ain't moving, so I don't know, I may have to get one, although it's been like this all this time. I don't know, we'll see. Well, it's a definite improvement. I think I should have changed out both springs while I was in there. I kind of figured that, but well, as they say with this COVID business, better safe than sorry. Well, So I guess one of these days I'll open it back up, probably put 2 lighter springs in, and I'll probably have to take that bushing off the stop. I'll have to find out if that's just normally supposed to be there or what the deal is. But I definitely have advance coming on quicker, but not quick enough. And I'm still hitting a brick wall around 4,500 RPM, which is not at all how this engine behaved with the MSD distributor, the way I had it tuned. And I got a funny feeling that later in the year here, I'm going to be tearing this electric fan back out and putting the clutch fan back in. This thing, aside from the fact of just draining my battery unnecessarily, it never seems to do what I expect it to do. It doesn't flow as much air as the factory fan, not by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, at idle it does, and I guess that is nice, but really, if my engine is overheating at idle, I could, with the clutch fan, I could just rev up the motor and get way more flow than this thing gets. I wish I had room to mount that thing in front of the radiator and then just have both fans. I don't think there's enough room in there. I measured that when I installed it. I guess I'll have to remeasure it and see if there's some way I can make it fit up there, because that would be the ideal situation. Then I could get the cooling like it's doing now to avoid heat soak, and I could also have a little bit improved airflow at idle and still be able to rev up the engine and really cool it down. You know, just when I'm driving here, it's just not cooling efficiently enough. And it's the fan, I know it is. I do have to get a new temperature probe, though, or temperature gun. The one I've got always reads 265 degrees no matter what temperature it is. So it's hard to see exactly what's going on, but this just isn't right the way this is working.